Seemingly aware of Yang Kai's arrival, Yong Yan slowly opened her beautiful eyes, glancing at him through the transparent energy film. When their eyes meet, Yang Kai looked startled. Because at this moment, he was shocked to find that Yong Yan's eyes were a little strange, and he couldn't help but feeling humbled, as if he was like ant in front of her. But when he looked carefully, Yong Yan was back to normal, as if everything just now were just his illusion. After Yong Yan glanced at him, she closed her eyes again. With a distracted look, Yang Kai tried to call for several times but received no response. At this moment, the consciousness sea below rolled up and an orange bubble suddenly appeared from the inside. The bubble rose slowly and came to Yong Yan. It burst with a puff. With the burst of the bubble, a kind of almost imperceptible energy to Yang Kai poured into Yong Yan's divine soul spirit body. At the next moment, Yong Yan's expression became extremely painful, as if she was going through some hardships. Her eyebrows were crumpled, her body was trembling, and her arms held her body tighter. Yang Kai twitched his head, his face uncertain. He didn't understand what happened to Yong Yan, but at this moment, he finally realized that the reason why Yong Yan would be like this was completely related to the bubbles in her consciousness sea. Didn't these bubbles contain Yong Yan's life experience and memory? How could it make her so uncomfortable? Suddenly, Yang Kai remembered something. Yong Yan once told him that her knowledge of item refining and formation techniques was not taught by anyone, and she understood them all inexplicably, and as she studied the formation and item refining techniques, she would understand more and more. Is it that the seals in these bubbles are the knowledge that Yong Yan has not mastered? But where do these things come from? Why would they be stored in her consciousness sea, and why would it let her comprehend this at this time? Yang Kai couldn't figure it out. The situation of Yong Yan at this moment is that the unknown information received is too large to be digested immediately, and can only be passively accepted. Instead, the divine soul spirit body are enclosed in the consciousness sea and seek self-protection. Although these are only Yang Kai's guesses, they are estimated to be inseparable. If this is the case, Yang Kai can't help her, unless he takes away the knowledge sealed in those bubbles and shares one or two with Yong Yan. But this is Yong Yan's wealth after all, and Yang Kai cannot do this without her permission. If he really do this, it will only mean taking advantage of the situation. Although Yong Yan is suffering a little now, as long as she survives this time, her gain will be unimaginable. After understanding this, Yang Kai sighed in relief, and now he has found the source of the problem, which was not what Yang Kai had imagined before, and he naturally no longer worried. However, for the time being, he is not in a hurry to go out. Staying here to watch over Yong Yan, so as to avoid any accidents that cannot be rescued in time. After making up his mind, Yang Kai said a few words to Yong Yan softly, telling her about his intentions, immediately swayed, and hid in the distance, sitting cross-legged in mid-air, gazing at Yong Yan's movements. Don't know if it is an illusion. But it seems that because of his stay, Yong Yan was greatly encouraged. In the following time, the bubbles in the consciousness sea came out one by one and continued to rise to Yong Yan. It burst open and flooded her with all the information sealed in it. Although Yong Yan's expression was still painful, their reaction was much better than before. With the passage of time and the reduction of bubbles, Yong Yan's expression gradually stabilized. In a blink of an eye, it was about half a month. During this period, Yang Kai didn't move away, and even closed his eyes. He kept paying attention to the movement of Yong Yan all the time. Finally, the last bubble in the consciousness sea rose and burst, and the information sealed inside it was quickly absorbed by Yong Yan. At this time, the energy film outside Yong Yan's body also shattered. Yong Yan, who closed her eyes, straightened her delicate body slowly, with one hand wrapped around her chest and the other hand held between her beautiful legs. Her body leaned back slightly. A long hair spread out even without any wind. The whole consciousness sea suddenly became calm at this moment. Yang Kai stared blankly, and this beautiful scene made him feel like Yong Yan was like a goddess, awe-inspiring. For a long time, Yong Yan was always wrapped in a black robe. Even if Yang Kai wanted to see her true face, it is not a simple matter, but he didn't want this woman to be so attractive. If she wore better clothing, she would be afraid to go out, because it will make countless men crazy. While Yang Kai was staring, Yong Yan's divine soul spirit body suddenly burst into a dazzling light which was extremely dazzling. Not only that, but there was also aura that made Yang Kai's face change countenance. The aura struck him, making him tremble. Emperor prestige. Yang Kai's eyes widened instantly. He had felt this kind of aura in Fallen Emperor Mountain, and naturally it is impossible for him to mistake it. This weird power of Emperor prestige appeared and disappeared quickly. When the rays of light are gone, and Yang Kai looked back, Yong Yan's divine soul spirit body had transformed into a black robe, wrapping her head and face when she got up. Turned her head to look toward Yang Kai, looking a little embarrassed. Seeing this, Yang Kai frowned slightly, stood up, and quickly flew towards her, stayed close, and looked up and down a few times, showing a strange look. Yong Yan is still the same, and there doesn't seem to be much changed, but everything he has seen before makes Yang Kai very doubtful. Are you alright? Yang Kai asked after being silent for a while. Well, I'm alright. Yong Yan stroked her hair in her ear and smiled at Yang Kai. The smile is full of confidence. This is a smile that Yang Kai has never seen before. The former Yong Yan is timid like a rat. She will only show this confidence when it comes to item refining and setting up a formation. This time I make you worried. Yong Yan whispered gratefully. It's okay if you're fine. Wu Yi and Qian Yu are very worried. They never know what happened to you. Since it's okay now, let's go out. You go out first. I have to stay for a while. I want to take care of some things. Yong Yan bit her red lips. Yang Kai looked at her and nodded. It's okay, just sort out and come out. After talking, Yang Kai flickered and disappeared from Yong Yan's consciousness. See. After Yang Kai left, Yong Yan's face suddenly showed a complex look, didn't know what she was thinking. There was a daze in her beautiful eyes. After a while, she sighed gently and sat down cross-legged. Close her beautiful eyes and feel the countless messages in her mind. In the attic, Yang Kai opened his eyes and glanced at the Yong Yan sitting cross-legged in front of him, and found that her complexion had turned a lot more rosy, and her breathing was also very smooth. He suddenly understood that she really had no trouble, just the divine soul spirit body is still immersed in the consciousness sea, temporarily unwilling to wake up. Regardless of what happened to her and what she got, Yang Kai was too lazy to ask. For him, as long as it is Yong Yan, it is enough. If she is willing to tell him herself, she will not hide it. Carefully put her down on the bed, tucked in the bedding, and then went out. Outside the door, Wu Yi and Qian Yu are still anxiously waiting. Yang Kai entered the place half a month ago, but no news came out during the period. They were naturally very anxious, not daring to disturb, and can't help but feel anxious. Hearing the opening of the door, the two women were overjoyed. After seeing Yang Kai, Wu Yi hurriedly asked, "How is it?" "It's alright, don't worry, she will probably wake up in a few days." Listening to Yang Kai saying this, Wu Yi and Qian Yu couldn't help but look happy, patted their chest, and exhaled greatly. Let's not talk about Yong Yan for now. Emperor Garden was born. Has Dragon Cave Mountain been affected? Do you know that it is Emperor Garden? Wu Yi showed a trace of surprise. After all, during the period the Emperor Garden was born, Yang Kai has been with Yong Yan. It is reasonable to say that he could not get the news so quickly. The reason why Wu Yi knew the news of Emperor Garden was because there was news from the Shadow Moon Hall. But soon, Wu Yi sorted out her thoughts and replied, "There are more strange faces in the vicinity, and the number of martial artists in Heavenly Fate City has also skyrocketed, but now it has not had much impact on our Dragon Cave Mountain." Yang Kai nodded slightly, and what Wu Yi said was exactly what he was worried about. Emperor Garden was unfortunately floating above the Dragon Cave Mountain after it was born. This has attracted so many foreign martial artists to observe the news for more than 10 days. After a long time, there will be more powerful people coming. At that time, the dragons and fish will be mixed. No one can say what will happen. Elder Qian sent a message to you a few days ago. Would you like to see it? Wu Yi remembered something. Oh. Where? Yang Kai looked towards her. Wu Yi immediately took out a letter from her space ring and handed it over. Yang Kai took it, but after opening it, he found that he didn't write anything on it, but he was not surprised. Then he released his spiritual mind to investigate the information contained in it. The news from Qiantong is very simple. There are only two. The first one is that the internal troubles of the Shadow Moon Palace have subsided. Qiantong returned safely. Not only that, but also brought back item refining expert who is very likely be able to break through void grade item refining expert, and naturally took the initiative immediately, strangling the internal troubles in the dark. What's more, now that the Emperor Garden was born, the people in the Shadow Moon Palace didn't want to fight anymore. The palace master spoke, and the battle ended there. At that time, it is necessary to dispose of some people and kill the chickens and monkeys. The internal battle ended here, and Qiantong finally told Yang Kai that the grievances between Dragon Cave Mountain and the Xie's family, the Shadow Moon Palace, would not intervene, and the trade relationship between Dragon Cave Mountain and Shadow Moon Palace was restored. And take the initiative to lower the price of materials by 10%. To be continued.